if I was to pinpoint a few tips, well, when you're logging your collection, tip number one, just take your time. Like, don't bite off more than you can chew. Don't think, you know what, I'm going to log, I've got, let's say you got 500 records. I'm going to log them all this month. You'll kill yourself. You will burn out so fast. So take your time, do a few a day, do a few a week, just pick it off. Like when I logged my collection, which at the time when I initially got the bulk of it in, it was probably around 1,000 records, and I think I probably took six to 8 months to do it. It just takes that long. Now, if you've got a lot newer albums that have barcodes, which I didn't even show, but you can see if you've got a barcode on an album. So let's see if I come back down here. Let me start recording again. All right, so if you've got an album with a barcode, it's very simple. Just use the search functionality, click on the little barcode tool, and you can scan that album, and then that's gonna pull up the different versions, and you can go through what we went through before. So you wanna go through and actually match the label and make sure the one that you have it is. In this case, I'll check this Brothers in Arms. I'm pretty sure this is the right copy. Yep, it's the exact label. You can go through and read notes about this and make sure that it's the right one if you want to get really in detail as far as what's on the jacket, what's the specifics on the label. All those things are really important. And again, then I can add that to my collection, click save. So now I've logged one, right? One down, hundreds or thousands to go. But again, back to the tip, take your time when you're logging the albums, and just try not to be overwhelmed, and just do it a little bit at a time. And it's going to be invaluable. Most importantly, is once you get all of your albums in, again, maybe you've got 50 albums, maybe you got 500 or 5,000. Once you get them all in, then you've got to stay up on it. So as you buy new records, you have to make sure that you're logging them as you go. Otherwise, you'll fall behind. I typically will keep, maybe 20 or 30 or 40 albums that have come in recently, and then I will do it in a batch, to where I'll sit down over a weekend and I'll log that whole new batch and I'll shelf them. And then when new ones come in, it starts a new pile. So find a system that works for you. Maybe it's one at a time, maybe it's 10 at a time, maybe it's waiting until you get a whole crate full, then you log them, whatever it may be. But that's very important, is to stay up on it. I mentioned the pro tip of messaging the seller for photos if you're buying on Discogs. I can't recommend that enough, especially if it's a used album, and especially, if it's a $5 album, probably not. That's going to annoy a seller. Obviously, you got to keep in mind they've got a lot of sellers have hundreds or thousands of available albums in their inventory on Discogs. So for them to take the time to email you photos of a $5 copy of something is a little much. But again, if it's, $40, $50 and up, especially anything, $100 or more, I would never buy it without asking for photos. Just like I wouldn't go on eBay or go in a store and buy something blindly without, for that much money without actually seeing it. So I don't think at least that's just my opinion. Other sellers may feel differently, but that's the way I work. Lastly, and if you've made it this long, you're going to get a good pro tip. I talked about the want list, and I talked about the notification email. So that's important, because each day you'll get that email and it's a little recap of your want list. But if you've got a big want list, maybe you've got, 30, 40, 50 albums, or maybe hundreds of albums on your want list, that can be overwhelming. You get an email each day. It's like, I don't have time to look through and find one that's a good deal. There's actually an app that you can use, and it is called Discogs. Check this out, or I should say it's a website, not an app. So this is a third-party tool. Discogs is the ability to get alerted when an album on your want list, or just an album in general, becomes available at a certain price or below. That's very important. So this is what it looks like, and it's very simple. So let me show you. So all you do is, we're on Discogs. So let's go back to my want list, and I will grab something. Here we go, Rubber Soul, Mobile Fidelity. So let's say I come here, there's 8 of these available. Again, I'm gonna sort it by US only. All right, so there's 3 available in the United States. It looks like $95, $100 range is probably the best I'm gonna get. There's a VG Plus. You know what? That's not a bad price, but I don't wanna really spend more than about 75 bucks. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm going to use these 3 little dots up at the very top right, which is called the hamburger menu. I'm going to click share. Then I'm going to copy that. Now what I did is I just copied the direct link to this specific version of Rubber Soul. So now if I come back over to Discogs and I put in my username, which is NTX Vinyl, and then I come down here, well, let's see, first I gotta put on my username and hit return. Okay, so now it's loading. All right, so this actually pulled in my want list. So I could actually go down this want list, not a very user-friendly way, and click into these and add alerts for them, but I think I'm just gonna do the paste. So it says paste the Discogs URL. I'm gonna paste that. I'm gonna hit return, and automatically, there it is. So this is it. Now I can put in a max price and say, you know what, I don't wanna pay more than $75 for this. It's gonna make me create an account because I'm not logged in, but you can put in your max price. And you can actually put in your condition value, and you can put in number of days that you want this to last. And then what will happen is you'll actually get a text. So the Discogs service texts you the minute a seller lists this album for $75 or less. It's going to text me along with anyone else who has that alert set for this specific album. And I can click and buy right there because it'll go fast if it's a good deal. So I've actually gotten a lot of records on the rarer side and expensive side at great prices because I've used Discogs to alert me. So this is a service that's pretty new. It's a freemium service that just an awesome person made, who's obviously a developer. So I highly recommend using Discogs if you're not. It's a really cool hack, and if you've made it this far into the video, hopefully you'll at least take away that.